Good evening. Welcome to the June 4 regular meeting of the Holland City Council. I'm Mayor Nathan Box. I'm calling this meeting to order. Mr. Van Dyken, are you going to call the roll this evening?
Yes.
All right. Would you please call the roll?
Bird.
Present.
Vreeman.
Here.
Raymond. Corbin.
Here.
Soul.
Here.
Rowan.
Present.
Shea.
Here.
Schulteis.
Present.
Mayor Box.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Wonderful. Thank you. We're going to begin this evening's meeting as we have for many years, first with an opening prayer, followed immediately by the Pledge of Allegiance. And I invite you to join us if you're so inclined. Please join me in prayer. Lord, thank you for the opportunity to meet tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to do the business of the people of the city of Holland. Give us ears to hear. Give us patience to listen. Lord, thank you for each and every day and the opportunity to serve. Let us do your work together for the people. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item on our agenda are our consent agenda items. These are items that are considered to be fairly routine and will be enacted in one motion unless a member of the public or a member of council or perhaps staff asks to have an item removed from a consent agenda, and then it will be placed in its regular order on the regular agenda. But before we do that, Mr. Van Dyken, would you please review the consent agenda for us?
Yeah, item 4A, excuse the absence of Councilmember Raymond. Item 4B, approve the minutes of the May 21, 2025 regular meeting. Item 4C, tax abatement, PA 198, Atlas Headrest LLC, 72 West 64th Street, Suite 330. Item 4D, claims filed against the city. Item 4E, Development District liquor license request, Holland Country Club LLC. Item 4F, adopt a resolution to place delinquent ordinance violation invoices on summer 2025 property tax bills. Item 4G, accept AARP Community Challenge Grant for Neighborhood Bench Initiative. Item 4F, accept an award bid for firefighter turnout gear. Item 4I, approve the notice of assignment and assumption of contract with Halt Fire and Reliant Fire Apparatus. And that is the consent agenda.
Wonderful. Thank you. Is there any member of the public that would like to have an item removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda? Seeing none, any member of council that would like to have an item removed from consent and placed on the regular agenda? Any member of staff? Mr. Van Beek.
It's a new one. We're asking, just to give you more information, that we would pull item E, 12D2, the report on the Development District liquor license request, and put that on regular so we can share more information with you.
All right, thank you. Any other member of council or staff that would like to have an item removed from consent? What is the pleasure of council in regard to the consent agenda?
Move to approve the agenda as presented minus letter E.
All right. We've got a motion. Is there a second?
Support.
Support by Byrd. We need a roll call vote on this, Mr. Van Dyken.
Bird.
Yes.
Vreeman.
Yes.
Corbin.
Yes.
Soul.
Yes.
Rowan.
Yes.
Shea.
Yes.
Schulteis.
Yes.
And Mayor Box.
Yes.
That item passes.
Wonderful, thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Under the Open Meetings Act of the State of Michigan, we provide the opportunity during our regular council meetings, during our study sessions, and frankly in every board, committee, and commission meeting for the public to be able to address council and give them the opportunity to speak on any item that they believe is important to them. This is one-way communication. It's an opportunity for you to be able to speak to us. We do not answer questions during this time or engage in discussion, but if there's a question that staff can answer, they may be able to circle back to you after the meeting. We do have guidelines that we ask you to follow. We ask you to please come up to the podium, and you're allowed to speak for 5 minutes. There are 3 lights on the podium, or on the dais in front of me. There's a green light, a yellow light, and a red light. Green light means you're doing well on time. Yellow light means that you have 1 minute left, and the red light means that your time has expired. We ask that you state your name and the municipality in which you live, because it's important for us to know whether you're a resident of the city of Holland. That being said, is there anyone here who would like to address council at this time? If so, please come forward. And would you please state your name and municipality for the record?
Yeah, Martha Capistani, Holland. So good evening, Council, and thank you for your service. I have looked over the events for this month's Pride celebration. I, as well as many in the city of Holland, are relieved that the drag performance has been moved to Saugatuck and will not be held locally and has an 18-plus entry restriction. However, as I looked at the Pride Festival itself that occurs each year, I noticed that it is now being held in Collin Park. I know that there has been much controversy about who has access to the bandshell itself for performing in Collin Park, and that is my first concern. Unfortunately, the use of the bandshell for a religious Christian concert has been denied to local church communities, only allowing them to use this space on the ground in front of it. Now, I've listened to the arguments or statures or whatever you want to call them, but they still are discriminatory at best based on the new changes made to our own city ordinance, Code 360, instituted in August of 2020, that includes protection of expression of religion. Now, what would happen if you told the performers for the festival that day that they could only use the ground in front of the bandshell? It sounds a little bit like you're going against your own city ordinance now in regards to expression of religion. Collin Park and the bandshell are historic to Holland and it belongs to everyone in the city. The bandshell was donated by Henry van der Linde to be used especially by those within the community with musical gifts and talents, and you told the citizens of Holland that the new city ordinance included religious expression. Does it? There are various other performances in the past that have occurred on the bandshell with sexual lyrics and language as well as dance, and this is a very public space. Of course, not all performances are like that, I know, but when a request is made by a church organization to hold a concert to express their worship and is clean and open to everyone is rejected. I'm sorry, but it feels deliberate and intentional, particularly because no one in the Holland City Council or government wants to sponsor or promote the event or make any effort to do so per request from the religious community that exists in Holland, and that includes the Hispanic church population as well, who often have bilingual lyrics in their performances. So, getting back to the Pride Festival in Collin Park, under Article 4 of the listed city ordinances, section 24 through 34, there are pretty strict guidelines about what is acceptable for public performances. Those listed there refer primarily to street performers, but I'm guessing that everyone performing in a public space requires a permit or sponsorship, as do the street performers, and must adhere to the same guidelines and ordinances. If the listeners here are unfamiliar with those, they should review them as they are strict and pertain to the rest of my comments. I hope that I'm wrong, but as you know, there's evidence that many of these types of events and parades are not what they used to be, and many gay and lesbian people no longer want to attend these events or feel that they represent what they fought for when it comes to marriage and equal rights. All you have to do is look online for yourself and see what is being represented now and read the comments. Now, maybe those posted online are the most extreme, but it doesn't diminish the fact that these events are moving in the wrong direction and are actually hurting gay and lesbian people who want to get married, work, take care of themselves and or their family, or just be accepted in society. Now, I know that bringing people into Holland for this event probably has a financial benefit for vendors, food trucks, and such. And it's good to bring more business to our city, but there should be caution because many of these types of events have deviated from their original purpose of representation and acceptance to indecent sexual displays in dress and performances. So here's my other concern. Who is performing on the bandshell during the festival? Will they be wearing appropriate attire and be family-friendly like the street performers are required to do? Can you guarantee that there's not going to be drag queens or anyone for that matter performing lewd or indecent actions or behavior that go against the restrictions under Article 4, Section 24 through 34? Also, will the people attending the event respect and obey common public decency guidelines and ordinance with appropriate dress? Also, being that this is a city-sponsored event, will the city council members be attending to ensure that this event adheres to our city ordinances, respecting everyone's rights and concerns in the community of Holland? In closing, I hope to see many of you there, and I want to thank you for your careful attention to these concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time? And would you please state your name and municipality for the record?
Ann Henriksen, Zealand. Here are some concerns that should be discussed. I've got a letter from Planned Parenthood, quote, the Trump administration has already laid a dangerous foundation for attacking our most vulnerable, also called marginalized communities, our fundamental freedoms and our democracy. They're hoping this will make us want to give up, but we are here to tell you we will never stop fighting. Another group that has the same fear of losing their rights spoke at the Holland Museum out loud, stories and legacies of Out on the Lakeshore. David Hoekstra was there representing the City Council in 2020 Civil Rights DEI Ordinance, expanding rights to sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. Other people groups were added to legitimize the ordinance, such as financial status, height, weight, familial status, etc., yes, and religion. There was a panel of speakers recalling the history and legacy of Out on the Lakeshore lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans organization. Sarah Solwaters, certified therapist and proud lesbian, her words, recalled how afraid and unprotected she was to walk the streets of Holland. She was at the City of Holland Council 2011 meeting. Reverend Jen Adams was the organizer of Holland is Ready, attempting to pass the new civil rights ordinance to include LGBTQ+. The measure failed. This is when Sarah became part of Out on the Lakeshore and became open to her lesbianism. She made another comment that caught my attention. I believe I had mentioned this at the City Council meeting, advocating for religious rights promised by the city lawyer 2021. She said, since the council selected a people group to have an advantage of orientation, identity, and expression, then we could assume that all people groups in the ordinance would have the same freedoms. Her example was religious orientation, religious identity, and religious expression. At that point, someone began to talk over her. So others think this is true and then dismantles the city manager's unwillingness to give us sponsorship for our religious expression in the Collin Park band shell, seeing the Pride celebrations will be on the band shell this year. Very interesting comments followed. A retired Hope College professor said she was appalled that gays, lesbians, bisexuals, and trans, etc., could not get housing and employment in Holland. This is when she joined the cause. She also said she taught human sexuality classes included in the LGBTQ+ sexual behavior at Hope College. Another discussion about OOTL history was staying the course and developing strategies for the 2020 election. Laughter and smiles broke out. Mayor Nancy DeBoer was mentioned, and how weekly postcards sent out to the residents left her defenseless, and thus she lost the election. So that was a preconceived strategy. By what group? So Representative DeBoer had not instigated that slander against her opponent, Nathan Box, as was alleged by Freedom Village and across the city. 5 years later, what happened to Holland is not just about justice in housing and employment. Holland is now known all over the state as a sexual pride celebration sponsored by taxpayer funding. The schools of Holland and County OAISD schools conduct LGBTQ+ explicit sex education, plus having available a literature to children and teens, so does the library. Back to Planned Parenthood. Abortion and LGBTQ+ sexual education targets children. Abortion pills and sexual surgeries for transgender children are sourced out of the doors of Planned Parenthood. Who would have thought City of Holland Council would be complicit to this type of expansion of civil rights ordinance? This is way beyond the original housing and employment. It is indoctrination and the exclusion of our religious freedoms. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time? Seeing none, I will close the public comment period. Next item on the agenda, item number 7, special order of the day, public hearings. Community and Neighborhood Services, PA 198 tax abatement request, Copes Incorporated. Mr. Van Beek.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to ask Community and Neighborhood Services Director Mark Myers to come up, and he'll introduce the topic. And I know that we have two gentlemen from Lakeshore Advantage and two gentlemen from Coops here that I'm sure would be happy to talk to if you have any questions. Hi, Mark.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Mayor and council members. I'm pleased to present another industrial expansion in our community. Copes Inc., 881 Production Place, has applied for a new Act 198 tax abatement. Copes Inc. designs, manufactures, and installs automation systems. The proposed expansion of an existing facility would add operational capacity to their current operation. I was looking back at some of the history, and I believe this is their 5th expansion since 2017. So very exciting, and to have a growing manufacturer here. $2 million of new real property investment involved in the project. It will add 15,000 square feet of production space to their building, retains 24 full-time jobs, and significantly creates 24 new full-time jobs for our community. They expect to complete the addition by August of this year, and the tax abatement request term is for 12 years. And as Keith said, we have representatives of the company here, and you're welcome to come up and tell us a little bit more about your company.
And would you please state your names for the record?
My name is Dave Jessup.
Kurt Skur.
And anything you'd like to tell us about the tax abatement, the company? Otherwise, if we've got questions, if council has questions, we'd love to be able to ask you those as well. But we'd like to give you the opportunity to speak first if you'd like.
One thing I would point out is the project is actually done, and we're doing the ribbon cutting tomorrow. So I would open an invitation to any of you, 1 o'clock at the facility if you're interested. If not, that's fine too. So we're actually going to be a little bit ahead of schedule from the original project timeline, which is good, I think.
Mm-hmm. Great. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, just to kind of expand. The expansion that this is referring to is it's our machining area. So several of the other abatements we've done in the past kind of expanded manufacturing facility space. And this building in particular is a machining area, CNCs and milling machines. So just a little bit of context on the expansion.
Great, thank you. Any questions from council for either the applicant or for staff? Mr. Shea?
Yeah, just a quick question. If you were to kind of just generalize, would you say that your clients are primarily outside of the area, or like regional? Do you service, national? Does that make
We have
sense?
facilities here in Holland. We have facilities in Saginaw, Michigan. We have a facility in Greenville, South Carolina, and one in Irapuato, Mexico, and then a service location in Monterrey, Mexico. I would say it is accurate to describe us as servicing North America. Many of our customers are automotive customers. Many of them are in this state and regionally. But we have customers in Canada, in Mexico, and from one side of the country to the other.
Great, thanks.
Great. Any other questions from council? Great, thank you, gentlemen, appreciate it. Oh, do we have one more? I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Go ahead, Ms. Soul.
So congratulations, you're ahead of schedule. It looks like you guys are going to be hiring, or your company would be adding 24 more employment jobs. Are those already, since you're ahead of schedule, or that to be determined during your next phase of?
The jobs that we're hoping to retain are securely in that category. We are, from here going forward, according to the plan, planning to add people. We hired several already this year, including several interns from local colleges in Grand Rapids and Holland. And so there are some, those are not full-time employees, that'll be longer term. Once they complete their internship, they may join the force. It depends on how that all goes. But the projected 24 new hires will be over the next several years.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Any other questions from council? All right, now, thank you, gentlemen, appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
We do need to have a public hearing on this matter, so I will open a public hearing. Is there any member of the public who would like to address council in regard to this particular item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. What is the pleasure of council in regard to this item?
Move to approve.
Moved by Byrd, is there support?
Support.
Support by Sol, any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Van Dyken, would you please call the roll?
Freeman.
Yes.
Corbin. Soul.
Yes.
Rowan.
Yes.
Shea.
Yes.
Schulteis.
Yes.
Byrd.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes.
That passes, then I'm off the struggle bus there.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda, written petitions and communications. In addition to providing the public the opportunity to address us in person during our meetings, we do also have an email address where you can send written communications, and that is publiccomment@cityofholland.com. Again, publiccomment@cityofholland.com. When we receive those, we accept those into the record at our regular meetings. We do not read them into the record, but we accept them in. We do not have any this week, but I always like to let people know that that is an option for them. Next item on the agenda is the item that was removed from the consent agenda, and that is item 12D2, Development Liquor License Request, Holland Country Club, LLC. Mr. Van Beek.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I'll introduce this one, and then Assistant City Manager can extrapolate or correct anything that I don't get right? Really, this is, the recommendation is the same. We just wanted to let you know something a little unusual that maybe we missed here. Everything stands as is where it's recommended, and that this is a liquor license that is in the downtown area per the state liquor control rules. You might go Holland Country Club for people that have been here a long time. You're like, hey, the country club isn't there. It's just the name, and I think the name was probably purchased somewhere along the line. The location that they're looking at going to is within the Downtown Development Authority on River Avenue. Just the thing to bring to your attention, ultimately this is action that is your action. Typically, and we missed this one, usually we would send it to the DDA first for review. They always very supportive of this. We're thinking we don't want to delay the process in any way, and that we would inform the DDA, but we feel comfortable just bringing this for you to action. But we certainly didn't want to just do that and not identify for you that we didn't send it to the DDA first, which is not a requirement in the ordinance or, excuse me, the requirements of the state, but just wanted to bring that to your attention.
All right, thank you. Mr. Corbin.
Keith, is this for an establishment but not for an event, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just clarity for the listening public. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? All right, what is the pleasure of council in regard to item 12D2?
Move to approve.
Moved by Schulteis, is there support?
Support.
Support was at Mr. Shea. Support by Shea, any discussion? Seeing none, let's do a roll call vote on this. Mr. Van Dyken.
Corbin.
Yes.
Soul.
Yes.
Rowan.
Yes.
Shea.
Yes.
Schulteis.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Excuse me. Byrd.
Yes.
Vreeman.
Yeah, I thought I got X.
Mayor Box.
My vote will stay the same, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, next item on the agenda, item 12E 6.1, gifts. Mr. Van Dyken, would you please review the gifts for us?
The city's manager's office is pleased to report the following gifts. For the Parks and Recreation Department Youth Advocacy Fund, a total of $9,852 collected from the Youth Advocacy Fundraiser hosted by Holland Recreation, which came from $8,820 of tulip time parking fee revenue and $1,032 in concession profits. It's recommended that these gifts be accepted with appreciation, credited to the appropriate account, and an expression of gratitude be forwarded to the donors.
Great, thank you. What is the pleasure of council in regard to the gifts?
Move to approve?
Moved by Sol. Is there support? Support by Vreeman. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, item number 13, communications from the city manager. Mr. Van Beek.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I'll be quick, just a handful of things. Glad to be back. Just because of it's our nature, I know Matt always, says when I'm gone that the meetings go smooth and are faster, everything. But I did notice that, glad to see that we had a quorum right at 6 o'clock tonight. So, Matt, I don't know, man. Okay. Sorry, I couldn't resist. So, second, just so you know that on Monday, the Michigan Municipal League, which we have, they have a really nice program where they do Live with the League on Mondays at noon. Just general updates available to all members. And they also have a practice where periodically they will do a traveling road show and they go to different locations. And they are doing that this coming Monday at noon right here in council chambers and putting that out there live to all MML members. So the mayor and I will be part of that. It's really most MML stuff, but they kind of, talk about and highlight some things that we're doing here at the city that may be useful to other members. So that's available live if you're interested, and I know that that's also recorded where if you want to go back and make comments to the mayor and I about how we did. So highlights, it's pretty close to the beginning of the month. So yesterday was kind of that cool day. I always like that the e-newsletter or the My Holland Scroll goes out, and also the happenings of the Parks and Rec and downtown Holland and all those types of things. So we're definitely entering that really busy and fun time where there are lots of things going on. I usually don't do this. Maybe I'll regret this, but I just want to make sure so that everyone's on the same page of good information. There were comments tonight about the Pride Festival event. And just to be clear, we do implement our policies in the same way, and that festival is not authorized to use the band shell, but they are authorized to use the park just like any entity has used the park. They don't qualify underneath our policy to use the band shell, so the band shell will not be used for that festival. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda, appointments and communications from the mayor. I do have two proclamations this evening. The first is for June as Pride Month. Whereas nationwide, individuals who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, or asexual celebrate Pride Month each June. And whereas we commemorate the events that took place more than 50 years ago at the Stonewall Inn in Manhattan, New York, on June 28, 1969, that brought greater awareness to the injustices faced by the LGBTQIA+ community. And whereas LGBTQIA+ Americans have achieved significant milestones, ensuring that future generations of people in the United States will enjoy a more equal and just society, still members of the LGBTQIA Americans still face discrimination today more than ever. And whereas, in passing City Ordinance 1784, the city provides protection of the rights of all persons against discrimination in employment, housing, public accommodations, or public services based on age, race, national origin, color, disability, education, familial status, sex, sexual orientation, gender expression, gender identity, marital status, religion, source of income, or weight. And whereas on March 16, 2023, the state of Michigan followed, also expanding the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act to prohibit discrimination practices, policies, and customs in the exercise of those rights based upon sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. And whereas as a municipality, we value and welcome all people, regardless of age, disability, education, familial status, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender expression, gender identity, marital status, or source of income. And whereas we value the cultural, civic, and economic contributions of the LGBTQIA+ community and organizations like Out on the Lakeshore and the PFLAG Holland Lakeshore, our first Lakeshore organization to support LGBTQIA people, their parents and families, and allies. And whereas it is the desire of the city to promote opportunity, access, and belonging for all of those we serve, and for those that find themselves in our community. Now therefore, I, Nathan Box, Mayor of the City of Holland, Michigan, and members of the Holland City Council proclaim the month of June as Pride Month. We recognize the rights inherent in our United States Constitution, the state of Michigan, and municipal code. We encourage our community to support the LGBTQIA+ community and actively promote the principles of liberty and justice for all, and encourage participation in community events to show support for the LGBTQIA+ neighbors during the month of June. We invite you to attend the Pride Festival to be held in Collin Park on Saturday, June 28th from noon to 5 p.m. Given under my hand and the seal of the City of Holland this 4th day of June, 2025, Mayor Nathan Box. And I do have a second proclamation this evening for June 19th as Juneteenth. Whereas on June 19, 1865, 2 years after President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, enslaved Americans in Galveston, Texas, received word that they were free from bondage and were recognized for the first time as citizens, equal in personal and property rights from their former masters. And whereas, acting as the date of emancipation, June 19 became a long-standing day of celebration known as Juneteenth, honoring African American resilience and the end of slavery and encouraging unity and respect for all. And whereas, across our city, state, and country, we join hands in acknowledging the centuries of struggle, courage, and hope, and the work of the abolitionists, teachers, and civil rights advocates, attorneys, public officials, and neighbors who have helped make real all the principles outlined in our nation's founding documents. And whereas we celebrate the African American community locally, who have made indelible contributions to enrich our community and bring awareness around the needs of the community. And whereas the City of Holland stands in the support of the I Am Academy and our collective work to empower African American adolescents to achieve their full potential by centering their identity, cultivating relationships, supporting educational success, providing college experiences, facilitating job readiness, and supporting educational readiness, ultimately changing the narrative and trajectory of our African American youth. And whereas we acknowledge our history and work collaboratively to address systemic racism, remove barriers, and provide opportunity for all. And now, therefore, I, Nathan Box, Mayor of the City of Holland, Michigan, and members of the Holland City Council, proclaim that the City of Holland celebrate June 19 as Juneteenth. As part of our commitment to anti-racism, racial and social justice, encouraging a day of reflection, recognition, acknowledgement, and healing. Further, we encourage community participation in the Juneteenth Freedom Festival on June 21st at Collin Park. Given under my hand and the seal of the City of Holland this 4th of June, 2025, Mayor Nathan Box. And that is all I have this evening. Next item on the agenda, item number 15, appointments, motions, and communications from council members. Anything from council members this evening? Mr. Corbin.
Yes, so our evaluation of Keith Van Beek, our city manager, is due today. Unfortunately, we only received 3 of 9 evaluations from the council. So those were supposed to go directly to our attorney. And so just a reminder, you have till midnight tonight to meet that obligation. No, if you could try and get that accomplished here this week. We are meeting next week, Wednesday, to review those recommendations and synthesize them together and some comments that you guys can use to eventually come back together and make a full recommendation for the continuation of his contract. So, and so on. So please get that done. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other communications from council members? Seeing none, there's just one motion I would entertain at this time.
Move to adjourn.
Moved by Vreeman. Is there support by Byrd? All those in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.